anything that doesn't have an engine.
New Zealand's finest invention was the jet boat, which you see here doing a 100-mile river race. Looks like clean, safe fun, but this is New Zealand, remember? So it isn't.
So is this the sport you do out here if you can't play rugby then?
Basically, it is when you get too old. When you get too old, you play around with boats.
Are you able to sort of pre-plan, have a look at the river?
You can go up on the day before, but on a day like today where it's raining, the river changes overnight. So you can plan, you know, every corner. Next day you wake up, the river's completely on the other side of the bank. So it's not much point in really doing the river before.
So you're doing it blind?
You're doing it blind at 100 mile an hour, 80 mile an hour sometimes, and just hoping. The biggest problem with the boats, as soon as the engine fails, you have no steering, you have no brakes, you go where the boat is pointing.
Pay attention. This is a profile of a jet boat. Now there's a hole in the bottom into which the water flows. It goes along into a chamber where it encounters a sort of vaned impeller. Now that squirts the water under pressure along a tube that gets narrower and narrower till it comes out of a nozzle at the back at what scientists call a fair old lick. Now steering, here's the back of the boat, there's the nozzle sticking out. You've no rudder, so to turn right you simply point the nozzle that way. To turn left, you point it that way. But hold on a minute, you're thinking, what's the matter with a propeller? I mean, that simply grabs the water and pulls you along. This grabs the water and pushes you along. However, this is a conventional boat with a propeller sticking out like so. Now this is a jet boat. This means you can drive a jet boat at whatever speed you like in a puddle.
It was invented by a chap called Bill Hamilton. Having done the first ever 100-mile-an-hour lap of Brooklands, he came home to design a boat that could handle shallow water. A jet was the obvious answer, but there were problems, so he enlisted the help of a young engineer.
The #1 boat had an underwater jet, and it didn't work at all well. When that was shifted to straight out the back, the speed of the boat improved immeasurably. And then we realised that Newton's third law of motion, if you throw something one way, the boat will recoil the other direction. So we realised that water did not have to hit the water, it just had to be thrown backwards.
When you look around the world and every beach has a jet ski rental outfit and the blue ribbon holder across the Atlantic was jet powered and jets are everywhere, do you feel enormously proud of what you've done?
I suppose I do. It was Bill Hamilton that set the environment. It couldn't have been done without him, and he started it, but to be part of that development has been terrific. Really enjoyed it.
Now, it's one thing fiddling about on New Zealand's rapids, but to show the world what a jet boat could really do, they set off in search of some real water. The Americans say no one ever navigated the Colorado, but this film shows that in 1960, Hamilton's son John did get a jet boat up America's most fearsome waterway.
So what were the biggest problems then on the Colorado?
With us, it was first the drivers who only had New Zealand shallow water experience learning how you drive boats in these huge waves, this colossal water.
And look at the state of that water. You couldn't get a jet boat through that, could you?
Well, that is what we're looking at now. That's the big rapid in the Colorado. Yes, we did get it through.
When you're sitting at the bottom of something like that, looking out, what's going through your mind?
You're trying not to let anything go through your mind.
Quite.
Well, we're having a run at it here, and I think you'll see in this particular bit a big lesson I learned. Just do not go into a place like that. Just look at that. You see the boat nearly submerges.
Made it.
Having beaten the worst America could throw at them, they looked round the globe for an even bigger challenge, which they found in Africa.
What happened to the Zaire then? What was that all about?
The Zaire was so big and some of the areas were so wide, you would have a sea-going conditions superimposed on river waves, and we got the most terribly mixed up water. You wouldn't know what it was going to do next.
I'm sorry about this, but I'm looking here at this footage, and I think there's a moment where challenge stops and folly starts, and some of what you're attempting is folly.
Oh, it's not folly with a good jet boat, is it, John? They're quite safe.
Were there times when you were scared?
Oh, yes. Plenty. But still, what do? You can't step out, so you keep driving.
Today, with the world's dangerous water beaten, they've gone back to tackling their own, only faster. They call this sport jet sprinting. I call it aquatic suicide.
Well, that all looks so safe, you're probably wondering why I haven't been out in one yet. Well, truth be told, I did my back in that Zorb ball. But thanks to the wonders of modern medicine and these neck braces, I am able, you'll be delighted to hear, to go for a ride. So, how to describe this thing? Well, look at it this way. A supercharged V8 water pump nestling in a soap dish. Whoa! When you're old, sitting on your porch with a nice glass of single malt, it's important to have a lot of cherished memories. But this boat is going to make pretty damn sure that I don't get to be old. I find it very difficult to explain to you what these turns are like. I mean, extraordinary G-force that you have to lift off going down the straight so you can get the power on and must have steering when you go through the corners. Oh, wow, this is a seriously glorious machine.
It is thirsty, though, which is why the jet boat failed to kill off the more economical propeller. However, in the world of military aviation,